my paper going to discuss two aspects. One regarding the annexation in the year 1834 and the resistance subsequent to the annexation in the year 1837, to which Professor Tammanda Vijay has already made reference, and some parts of my papers you may find as a repetition of that. The annexation and the transfer of power, a case study of Coorg in 19th century is the caption of my paper. The transfer of power of Coorg country from the local monarch to the East India Company in the 4th decade of 19th century has been described in the history as a smooth process, as there was little resistance. According to the majority of the historians, this was possible for the absolute support of the local people who were fed up with the tyrannical administration of the last king Chikkavira Rajendra Odeyar of Haleri dynasty. The revolt of 1837, which took place subsequent to the dethroning of the last Raja, popularly known as Amarasulla insurrection or Kodagu Kenra rebellion, by which arms against the colonial administration was raised, has been described as uprising of Gaudas, and attempts have been made to minimize its importance by limiting its ambitious struggle to one single community. In 19th century, capturing Coorg was need of the day for the English. The kings of Haleri dynasty were the friends of the East India Company for quite a long period. Previously, when the neighboring Mysore country was being ruled by Tipu Sultan, the British exercised all its genius to control his onslaught. Tipu Sultan had occupied Coorg and kept the king's family in his captive. In the year 1788, Veera Rajendra Odeyar managed to escape from the prison with the help of his countrymen, reunited Coorg and usurped its throne. And now, the East India Company, in order to exploit the situation, gave full-fledged support to the king. The cordial relationship continued till the period of Lingarajendra Odeyar, but after the coronation of his son Chikkavira Rajendra Odeyar, the situation started to stain drastically. To exhibit tarnished personality of the king was most essential for the British. Therefore, in accordance with the true intent of the colonial administration, the popular history of Coorg has portrayed Chikkavira Rajendra Odeyar, the last king of Haleri dynasty, as having cruel and debauched character, and for that reason, ouster of the said king was essential for the common interest. Majority of the writings on the period describes the king that he was the man having eccentric sexual urge, and for stimulating masculine powers he used to take bath in human milk. According to this history, the Divans of Coorg, namely Chepudira Ponnappa, Apparanda Bobu, both belong to the dominant community, Kodava community of Coorg, and Tudidar Kalakshminarayana, a Brahmin, took radical stand to support the British, who issued proclamation of war against Coorg. While these Divans were praised with beautiful words for their timely interference in the administration of Coorg to save it from the despotic rule of the Odeyar, allegations have been poured on the other Divan, Murnadu Basava, popularly known as Lame Basava or Kunta Basava, for his extending support to all and every evil of the king. Chikkavira Rajendra Odeyar, the last king of Coorg, had deep aversion towards the English. The main reason assigned for his hatred feeling has been attributed to the act of the East India Company, which overtly refused to refund the deposits made before the Banks of London. The documents in this regard support the theory of his developing animosity to the British and for evolving rift between the king and the colonial administration. However, the king was annoyed with the meddling of the English in the affairs of Coorg administration. Besides the dispute about the bank deposits, the interference of the British was the main cause for the dissatisfaction of the king. Not much significance has been given to the internal conflict erupted in the royal family, either avoided willfully or neglected without giving appropriate importance. In the year 1832, Devammaji, the stepsister of the last Raja, and her husband Channabasappa run away from Coorg and take asylum in Mysore under the British. They contended that to escape from Coorg was indispensable as they had immense threat to their lives from the cruel king. They also reported that the king had snatched their minor son and they sought timely intervention of the company to get him back. Eventually, they craved that the English to attack Coorg and hand over its administration in their favor, in which event they pledged to be subservient to the company forever. Several later correspondence takes place thereafter. Chikkavira Raja declines to obey the instructions of the British. He contends that the dispute was the internal affair of the Samsthana. On the other hand, he demands the British to give the custody of the betrayers to him. The king has specifically leveled sedition charges against Devammaji and her husband Channabasappa. The incidents of escape of Devammaji has been depicted as the iconic illustration for the colossal brutality of the last Raja. Nonetheless, about the no light is put on the allegation made by the last king against his relatives about the subversion plot planted to overthrow him. Silence prevails everywhere in the chapters of Coorg history. Sirestadar Kalpulli Karunakaraman, the advocate for the British in certain matters, opines that Devammaji had pestered the king to declare her son as a successor to the throne, since king had no male issues from his royal queen. During the period when the said demand was raised, the enraged Raja executes several relatives who supported the cause of Devammaji and Channabasappa. Incidentally, Channabasappa was a Kodava converted to Lingayat. Prior to embracing Veerashaiva religion, his name was Mukkatira Ipanna. It was order of the day to cause conversions in the society to arrange marriages with the royal family. Thus, the family members and relatives of king were belonging to different castes. Attempts ought to have been made to polarize caste-based sections within the royal family and their relatives. Nothing is astonishing if Raja was disturbed by the developments around him. The rage of the king at the time was quite natural, as he had male issues begotten out of his other official wives. There was no void created for succession of the throne. It was the willful chaos created by Devammaji and Channabasappa to remove king from Coorg Simhasana. The caste polarization is evident from the study of the circumstance. One Muddaya was employed in Coorg as Killadar for 3.5 years. According to him, and it is according to the archival materials, Channabasappa, his brother Mukkatira Muddaya, and certain others had made attempts to coronate Channabasappa as king of Coorg by removing Chikkavira Raja. The purported political murders committed by the king were to protect his own crown. Admittedly, the sovereign ruler was also the head of the criminal justice. He had every right to pass sentence of any gravity according not only to his discretion but also to his discrimination. The last Raja was having colorful personality. He had heartwarming approach towards life. He was not as cruel as his forefathers. He had immense love for literature and general knowledge. He was well versed in Kannada and Persian languages. He used to write poems. He was also able to speak Hindi and Urdu. And so it could be learned that the Raja was not a crude person of evil nature as portrayed by the imperialist historians. The request made by Devammaji and Channabasappa for transfer of Coorg administration to them came to the aid of the British at the prime time. Apart from misunderstandings regarding the deposited amounts before the banks of London, The British had two main grounds to teach the king proper lesson. The first reason was that Raja had deepest animosity and venomous approach towards the English. The second one is the king turned down the proposal of East India Company to form new highway to Malabar from Mysore through Coorg. The relationship which the Haleri kings had during the period of Odeyars and Lingaraja came to stall abruptly. The British resident of Mysore court writes a detailed letter to the Chief Secretary of Madras Presidency in the year 1832, which unveils several truths. According to him, Mysore and Coorg had enmity till recent years, but after Mysore was acquired by the company, they are having secret correspondences. Arapura Basappa Raja, a relative of the king, is having contact with several Mohammedan leaders. The house of Paduvaralli Boregowda, in the place where secret meetings of officers of Mysore and Coorg are convened. At any time, there is possibility of outbreak of joint revolt by Mysore and Coorg. In addition to that, Raja had a close association with one Ghulam Muhammad Khan, who had made a futile attempt to raise arms in Mysore in the year 1826. He was a converted to Islam. Narayan Rao, a prominent leader of Nagar insurrection of 1830, was his maternal uncle. One Seth reports to the Mysore resident as, the Raja of Coorg had inspired for insurrections in Bangalore, Mysore and Nagar. Initially, mutiny arose in Nagar according to the desire of the king. During the period of cantonment conspiracy of 1832 in Bangalore, 300 soldiers were deployed by the king in Bangalore and 400 in Mysore. After the intended uprising failed, Abbas Sahib, one of the main conspirators, takes shelter in Markera. Even Chikkavir Raja Odeyar had an intention of forming confederation to fight against British, and for that reason he had made attempts to develop friendship with Raja Ranjit Singh, the king of Punjab. Also, one Tamaya Munshi of Coorg reports that a secret link was established between Mysore and Coorg through Ghulam Muhammad Khan and Paduvaralli Boregowda. Ghulam Muhammad Khan assures Chikkavira Raja to arrange for a mutiny in Bangalore. Fakhruddin of Ganjam enters into a contract with the king of Markara and agrees to send 2,000 Sipahis to Coorg. Chikkavira Raja writes a letter to Nawab Mukhtar of Hyderabad requesting his military assistance in the event outbreak of war between company and Coorg. In addition to this, Raja had alliance with several Palaigas of Mysore region. He also sends political envoy to Chirakkal Raja. Keliyat Nambiar of Malabar was invited by him, and he had political relationship with the Palaigas of Ballari, Surapura, Chitradurga and Ballapur. Sarjappa Nayaka, a chieftain of Nagar insurrection of 1832, belonging to Palaigar family of Tarikere, took shelter under the Raja after the said peasant mutiny came to be suppressed. Sarjappa was given asylum by the Raja in Madikeri fort itself. When the king was trying to have a strong confederation to take military action against the British, they were planning to form a highway to Malabar from Mysore through Coorg. The highway project annoyed the king and bluntly he turned down the demand of the company. Furthermore, the king prohibits the entry of the outsiders to Coorg. This was an overt assault on the ambition of the foreigners. The last part of the year 1833 and the beginning months of 1834, Coorg was in a politically boiling condition. Sudden attack from British was anticipated. Two forts of Kushalnagar were renovated. In the meantime, the king sent Kalpulli Karunakar Menon, the advocate of British, behind bars. At last, the British officially declared war. Proclamation of war was declared on 1st April 1834. On the same day, the battalion of Lieutenant Colonel J.J. Fraser leaves Betatpura and the camp was put in Makandur on 4th April. The movement of the military was very slow and tiresome as trees were cut and felled across the roads. As per the list prepared on 3rd April, 1 lieutenant colonel, 2 ensigns, 3 sergeants, 2 corporals and 30 soldiers had lost their lives in the battlefield. 1 English officer was among the deceased military officer. The topography of the Coorg had made British to face tough resistance than what was expected. On the evening of 4th April, Diwan Lakshminarayan and one Tahir Khan, a close associate of the king, go to the Makkandur camp of Fraser and deliver him a letter written by the king. Fraser immediately responds to the Raja and asks him to surrender. The king in turn gives reply showing his intentions to resolve the matter amicably. Also, as mark of a willingness not to continue the war, offers to release Kallapalli Karunakara Menon from imprisonment. In any case, nothing is available to suggest that the king had decided to surrender. At this juncture, a very strange incident takes place. On next day, it means on 5th April 1834, Diwana Aparanda Bopu, accompanied with the 300 to 400 soldiers, appears in the camp of Colonel Fraser and unconditionally lays down the arms. In the meantime, orders were dispatched through his men to the soldiers to stop the fighting on various battlefields. The resistance of Coorg to the progressing company army as such concluded so tamely. Markera falls on 7th April 1834. Ironically, the preparations for the ultimate war by forming a confederation of like-minded made by Chikkavira Raja, his inflicting injurious assaults to the progressing British army by using comfortable key position in the land and surrendering of Diwan Aparanda Bopu for no reason whatsoever has not been discussed seriously in the study of Coorg history. The behavior of Diwan Aparanda Bopu reveals his tainted relationship with the king. The conflict between the Raja and his Diwan reflects as an action in furtherance of the plot of Devammaji and Chennabasappa for usurping throne of Coorg. After some days, the king appears before Fraser. His close associate, Diwan Murnad Basava, declines to surrender. On the other hand, he commits suicide. Diwan Aparanda Bopu was very close to British, but Diwan Lakshminarayan shows no inclination. The king was sent on exile to Kashi through Vellore. Diwan Chepudira Bopu and 54 other officers belonging to Kodava, Gauda, Muslim and Hagde communities accompanied him till Alangut camp, and thereafter the said team was sent back by the British, assigning some the reason that it was not too safe to have them along with the king. This aspect goes to show that Chikkavira Raja, whatever, was adored by his people. The charge leveled against him that he was cruel and debauched had no firm corroborations. The theory put forth in the popular history of Coorg that it was most essential for the people to support the British to remove the tyrant king is brittle and untenable. Soon after dethroning the Raja and subsequently Devammaji pleaded for coronation of Chennabasappa as a sovereign of Coorg, but her efforts went in vain. Very interestingly, Captain D. Hardy, the chief of Coorg administration, suspected the loyalty of Aparanda Bopu at the outbreak of Amarasula insurrection of 1837. Did this animosity have any reflection about the caste politics played by to acquire Coorg throne is the matter to be studied further. The power transfer happened in the year 1834 in Coorg from the hands of Haleri dynasty to the British administration was not as smooth as narrated in the available works. Though no resistance shown immediately, various sections and castes of Coorg society were not happy about the overall developments. If power transfer was easy for the British, it was for the reason of internal dispute to capture Coorg throne. The people who intended to use British might to get rid of Chikavir Raja became submissive to the new rulers. Kodava, the dominant caste of Coorg society, was carved out, painted colorfully as martial race, and used them for plentiful purposes. They were used as military to suppress internal insurgencies. They were even used as shield against the fighters of the first Indian freedom struggle of 1857. The British, though, managed to capture Coorg by using the situation of internal conflicts. Initially, the administration was not very easy for them, assigning the reason that for the sake of better administration, about 1/3 part of Coorg territory down below the hill area towards the western coast was carved out and merged with the Canara district, which was under the control of Madras province. One of the populous and prominent landed communities of Coorg thus became divided vertically. Half of the portion remained in Coorg and the other half in Canara. The tax system of Coorg and Canara were entirely different. Revenue assessment was paid in kind in Coorg, but after the merger of lower part with Canara, the farmers were compelled to pay the same in terms of currency. The situation was new to the peasants of this region, and they were exploited by the business class and middlemen, who were the local friends of the British rule. The levying of tax on salt and company monopoly over commonly used tobacco was unbearable to this innocent farmers class. Now, mood to get rid of Englishmen started to evolve in the minds of the local people. The people of Upper Coorg were also not happy about the British administration. They thought of inviting the dethroned king to wear the crown once again. 1 or 2 weak attempts were made to trigger rebellion, but the same were suppressed at the initial stages itself. The movement of Swami Aparampara is a strange and unexplored, unique segment of Coorg history. About 6 months before the fall of Madikeri, a Jangama visits Chikavira Odeyar. Padvaralli Boregowda introduces him to king. The Swami again goes to Madikeri after dethroning of king, and himself declares as Virappaji Odeyar, son of Appaji Arasa. The said Appaji Arasa was elder brother of Lingaraj Odeyar, the father of Chikavir Raja. When Chikavira Raja usurped the throne, Virappaji Odeyar and his brother Nanjundappa Arasu were kept under captive. Both die in the prison. However, Swami Aparampara proclaims that he is Virappaji Odeyar and narrates how astonishingly he escaped from the jaws of death. Coorg people started to believe his words. He was having such a powerful personality. He established contacts with the Kojikode Mallappa of Subramanya in Lower Coorg. He belonged to most celebrated Kojikode family, which was highly powerful in the society and influential over the entire Arabesh Gowda community. Swami Aparampara developed association with the his cousin Kumbagowda in Coorg. The real name of this gallant struggler is Katrappa Bahu. He was a Marathi from Chitradurga. His father was a soldier in the army of Tipu Sultan, and he dies in the last Mysore war. During that period, Katrappa Bahu was a very small boy. The death of his father left a deep scar in the mind, and accordingly, while growing older, developed animosity against British. He could not lead family life, though he was married. He embraces sainthood, gets the new name as Swami Aparampara, and starts to organize people against British. He had proper knowledge about the mighty strength of the English. His dream was to form a confederation of larger level to combat the powerful enemy. Swami Aparampara and his disciple Hulikada Nanjaya have travelled various places of the present India and Pakistan in their Herculean mission. They have visited places like Dharwad, Nagara, Ooty, Mysore, Hyderabad, Pune, Satara, Kolhapur, Gwalior, Peshawar and Lahore. Swami Aparampara was a very good singer and sang devotional songs and before the public. Also, he used to give traditional medicines. This came to the aid while making trips to various places. When Swami Aparampara was organizing people against British in Coorg, his activities were closely observed by the enemy. In the year 1836, he was detained in the prison. Subsequent to his arrest, an attempt for a rebellion in Mysore was made in the name of Kalyana Swami. This futile plot is called as Ashtagrama conspiracy of Mysore. Swami Aparampara was also questioned in regard to this revolt attempt. Though serious note was taken by the British against Arapura Basappaji Arasa, a near relative of royal family of Mysore, at the intervention of Mysore Raja, he escapes from grave punishment. However, Kalyana Swami was caught in Baitur while in exile and executed thereafter. The death of Kalyana Swami was not known to general public of Coorg. His impact on Coorg society was limited. Now another Kalyana Swami, popularly known as Kalyanampa, appears in Sulya in Lower Coorg. Several prominent peasant leaders of the Coorg, mainly of the lower part, 5 minutes, lower part, contact with the Swami Aparampara prior to his detention in prison. Swami was in Vellore jail while Chikkavira Raja was being removed to Kashi, and the caravan was near Vellore. Swami Aparampara was shifted to Tiruchirappalli on security reasons. Thereafter, he served imprisonment till 1869 in the said prison itself. However, with the immense mental strength to combat the menace of the land, he arranged a remarkable anti-British struggle. Puttabasappa of Hemmani in Shanivasante, Upper Coorg, was a far relative of Haleri kings. Previously, he was a disciple of Swami Aparampara. After execution of Kalyana Swami, the said name was assigned to Puttabasappa, and the aforesaid gallant people who saw the colorful dreams of liberating their land from the foreign rulers propagated mainly in lower part of Coorg that he was the second son of Haleri Appaji Aras. An ashram was made by Kedambadi Ramagaya Gowda within Pumale forest in Ubaradka of Sulya, near to his house and lands. Middle-aged Kedambadi Ramaya Gowda was having powerful personality. He had immense influence over the people of the neighborhood. Gradually, people paid visits to ashrama, and Kalyanappa started to render preaching. Slowly, he gained popularity among the people of lower part of Coorg. After making considerable preparations, though not to the full satisfaction, rebel leaders, to the satisfaction of the rebel leaders, the insurrection was triggered on 30th March 1834 in Madhuvegade in the place of Kedambadi Ramaya Gowda. They seized the treasure at Bellare first. They execute the brother of Diwan Lakshminarayana, Vidyadhara Ramappa, in Bellare town, and thereafter there were 3,000 men gathered in Bellare, and the army was split into 3 battalions. The first one went to Mangalore through Puttur, the second one to Kumble and Kasaragod, the third one to Bisla and Bantwal. The rebel battalions operated according to their plan. The troops went to Kumble and Kasaragod, completed their mission properly and reached Mangalore on 4th April 1834. The other main battalion also reaches Mangalore. Before that, 400 people had gathered in Puttur. The Commissioner of Canada had acquired the knowledge about the insurrection and moved his small troop to Puttur. But to his immense surprise, the battalion of the native rebels was very huge to his imagination. Mangalore falls to the assaults of the native peasants. For 13 full days, Mangalore was ruled by rebel government. As usual, tax on salt and tobacco was removed. The intention of the insurrection was not to capture Mangalore alone. They tried to capture Madikeri also, but that mission also failed. In the meantime, British naval troops arrived from Calicut, and one troop from Pandavapura in the and the control of major drier reaches Madikeri from Pandapura, and the resistance there ends thereby. And in this struggle of 1837, totally 1,115 peasant leaders, fighters were apprehended. Hemmane Puttabasappa, Uppinangadi Manja, Nandavara Lakshmappa Bangarasa, and Guddamane Appaigoda were executed. And Kedammadi Ramayya Gowda, Kartukudiya, Chetikudiya, and some others were sent to either to Singapore or Burma, and several were punished with the life imprisonment, some persons with imprisoned for the terms of 7, 10, and 14 years. The English acquired absolute power over Coorg after the suppression of Amarasule insurrection with the service of loyal section of the society. All the way this part of the Coorg community stood with the English, thus emerging new class of hierarchy. The rebellion of 1837 has been narrated as uprising of Gaudas by Reverend G. Richter in Gazetteer of Coorg, published in the year 1870. In fact, the Arabash Gaudas of the Coorg took an active role in the struggle against the mighty British. As punishment, the entire community was kept in dark during the course of development, and their progress was overtly paralyzed. Other communities were also sidelined in the socio-political process. This has caused grave disparity in the distribution of opportunities within the society. The inequality in the sharing of power with the local communities was the main feature of British rule in Coorg. Nonetheless, the policy adopted by the English gave their collaborators absolute authority and domination throughout the 19th century, and even thereafter, these collaborators enjoyed their grip without any hindrance. The impact of this discrimination has surged further even in independent India. Thank you.